the only tough thing. I have this on the dash. It's a beautiful day here in Ontario, but it's 27 degrees. And when the sun hits this, it crashes sometimes. It looks like, but after 15 minutes, it gets a little hot. Cooled it off. I'm going to keep going. Obviously, I finished with Don't Believe Me, Just Watch. We got him under control now. I think everything is all right. Hopefully, we'll try and have him good for Friday. But that was quite an episode on the weekend with him. Emerald Miss is still out in the field. She'll come back in, I guess, the end of October, probably for her. Maybe earlier. I'll ask Jason. He is the turnout date. She should get 3 months. It's coming up on that. We turned out early, didn't we? Enduring Strength race great in Hanover. He's going to be in the semifinals on Friday night at Mohawk. Excellent Nation is back training now. No, 2 more weeks of full jogging, and then Excellent Nation is back training. Fox Valley Shazam is out in the field. Actually, we have an active offer for somebody that wanted to buy Fox Valley Shazam as a broodmare. So I think she's going to be sold, which is fine. I mean, obviously a little disappointing for us, but at the same time, she's a well-bred filly, and I think she'll make a good broodmare. Forged in Fire is back going. He's down at Harry's Burn. There, Harry's Burn. Forged in Fire. So the only answer, this horse never had an issue with his, hold on, bud, at the burn, okay? Never had an issue with his conformation or lameness. This was an issue with his throat. A couple of very rare injuries we had during the spring at the stable, and unfortunately we had to have an operation done on Forged in Fire. So I don't suspect there'll be any issue with his conformation, his trotting. He was one of our nicer colts at that time. I don't know how that will play a role, and I think that can only be answered as it gets closer to the races. So excited to see how he trains down Forged in Fire. Frontier Cruise has really turned things around, looks great. I know one of our clients wanted to race in the Autumn Series. That's not going to happen. I'm not racing him in against a non-winners of 2 or 30. That's a tough bunch of horses. I shouldn't say it won't happen. Let's see how he does this week. I know Ian thought he could get him a race Thursday at Flamborough. I don't want to race him in the non-winners of 2 right now at Mohawk. We worked hard to get this guy's confidence brimming, didn't we? The only issue I have with Frontier Cruise is that he's getting a little stutty. He almost hurt one of the grooms 2 weeks ago, and we're probably going to have to castrate him in the off-season. Giddy Up Max is probably done for the season. Was a little tired the other night on the left line. I noticed that it's funny, all the Better's Delights have similar mannerisms, and even the good ones wear that head pole on the outside, which is so weird. And he does. Giddy Up Max does. Murphy Blind and Rollerbur on the outside. We'll turn him out now, let him grow up for his sophomore season. Globetrotting's on our way back Tuesday, I believe, from Ohio. We have 2 or 3 horses coming back. She has the Breeders' Crown left. I am going to race her at Mohawk once or twice before the Breeders' Crown. She's sharp. Obviously, I think a little frustrated the other day is the reason that she made the break behind the gate in Delaware. Another filly that really just didn't really enjoy the deeper surface. But to each his own, I guess. We'll make sure that she's more than comfortable, both in her footwear and her equipment for Mohawk. She'll race there twice before the Breeders' Crown rolls into Mohawk. Harness AM, she's racing Tuesday at the Meadows. I put a professional driver on just for me and you, as Dave Pallone won with her last week. It only made sense that he drives her again this week. I'll drive Harness AM, who didn't draw the 8-hole. She drew 6. Definitely the worst drawing horse we've had in quite a while. She drew 6. She's 15-1 morning line. I think that's a little aggressive. I don't think she's well off the lead in that class. I think she looks good in there. So Harness AM, we'll see how she is coming in. Havana Una Na, my partner Jim made it clear. He said, I thought you said a month in a small paddock. You're right. It was my fault. I messaged back. So with that tiny little tear, the vet wanted 2 weeks off. She just walked for 2 weeks. A month in a small paddock and then a month in a big paddock. She's well on her way to getting to, she's been in the small paddock for what, 2 weeks now? So another 2 weeks in the small paddock, and then she'll go to Winterwood for the fall. Hometown Boys, he's going to be out for a little bit longer. I want to make sure this colt has every reason to be a good horse and every chance to be a good or a bad horse. You know, it's frustrating when you have his brothers cruising in style, obviously, full brother. So it's frustrating to us when you get a horse. I know a lot of people certainly won't buy siblings for that reason, but a horse is a horse, and Hometown Boys looked like a good horse when we bought him. Certainly had all the tools and still does. If he decides to use them, great. If he decides not to use them, then that's up to him. I'll play it alone. I think we're going to stop with him for a while. I said to somebody the other day, and it's frustrating, but it's true, the smarter he got and the more intelligent he got on the track, the slower he went, it appeared. Now, he did have allergy issues in the heat all summer, and I think what we'll do is rest him for a little bit and have him ready for the winter time. I'd like to race him throughout December and January, and if he exhibits some talent the way I expect he should, then we can shut him down at any point and have him ready for next year. Inland Beach, she's done for the year. Just a tiny little step behind the other horses this year. What's wrong, buddy boy?
You see me dove there?
Yeah, you did good. Show me some more.
I caught it.
I know. He loves baseball. And I hope you all understand. I could be out there playing catch with him. I'm finishing this up, and then we're going to go play catch, let him hit some ground balls, and go see the horses at the burn. So Inland Beach, done for the year. Going to let her grow up. She's got some avenues next year to explore. We can either, if she comes back real good, she's got the grassroots or beyond here in Ontario. If she comes back and she's still just a tiny step behind everybody, then we have the maritime racing scene for her also. She also has stakes in the Maritimes, and pretty lucrative ones as far as that goes. So it should be a good summer either way next year for our girl, Inland Beach. Jailhouse Master, he's still off for a little bit, and then he goes out to the paddock. He put a line in his foot, so we have to wait till that heals up. Johan, I've decided I'm going to castrate Johan. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but went to start back with him the other day, and he was acting up, flipped out, and got his foot cut. Just being stupid. So I'm gonna castrate him. I'm not gonna castrate him, but the veterinarian is definitely going to castrate him. But hold on, I'm just doing the video, okay?
Did you see me?
I did. Okay, get ready. We're gonna leave soon. Good job. And just for me and you, as I said, racing Tuesday in a stake race. Dave Palone's going to drive her, knockdown, drag out. One of our clients had asked, geez, could you just jog her for another week and see if she's all right? We can do that, but at the end of the day, I think knockdown, drag out, it's been clear. She wants some time off. We can't send her out yet. There's no stalls at the farm we wanted to send her to. And I know one of our other clients had graciously asked if she could take the horse down with her. That's an option. But I think for the most of the fall and the winter, knockdown dragout will be heading to Florida with the trainer we all choose. I had suspected it would likely be John Boot and Shane. That's likely the direction we're heading in, but we will see. Libero Hanover, we had sold Libero Hanover the other day, $23,600. I said $7, I was wrong. $23,600 was the hammer price on him for the online auction. We sold one, we bought one. We'll talk about the one we bought in just a few minutes. Marzank Hanover, she missed a week. We did a little work on her. She's going to be racing next week. They didn't write the 2-year-old filly class for Thursday. I think I know why, because the grassroots are on Friday and they didn't think they'd fill it, so they mixed it with 3-year-olds. I think this filly's probably ready to pace 54, 55. She paced 55 the other day, but do it the right way. I don't think you're going to see that 2- and 3-year-old maiden going 53 every week. I think they'll probably slow down a little bit. Miss Brampton Beast has what I'm hoping is the semifinals, and then she might also have the Harvest Series. We'll see how that works out for her. As far as racing, she's just getting sharp right now. I think ultimately we did the right thing by giving the horses an easy June. Some of them exploded out and did well right away. I would suspect, even though I was a little disappointed with the way Miss Brampton Beast hung a little bit, I was very, very happy with the first over. Fourth, beat a length in 54-1. Best mile of the year for her. Yeah, sure, she won a couple of races in Georgia in 55, but beat up on some inferior horses. That was a stiff bunch the other night. She raced well. She should have won the race, but she raced well, so no problems there with Miss Brampton Beast. These Ontario horses are sharp right now. Frontier Cruise, Miss Brampton Beast. I think we did the right thing, giving them an easy June when everybody else was getting ready to qualify. Miss Mischief Maker will come back in with a bottle of red. They're out together. Muscle Chrome's out for a little bit longer. She's going to be out till end of November, I guess. She's really gotten big. She grew a lot, this filly. She was so small when we brought her in, She's put on a lot of muscle and a lot of weight. Really happy with what I've seen from her. Nancy Allison, same thing. She's out recuperating, going to grow up a little bit. I liked what I saw at the end. Obviously, she just struggled a bit at the gate with changing gears at the gate. But again, that's just a baby thing. I'm not too concerned with that. We'll have her back and back in training, I would suspect. Again, same time as everybody else, around the end of November, first part of December. Need your opinion. I just sent an email out. I caught a little flack for need your opinion. I was suspected of hypocrisy on Need Your Opinion the other night. Now, what I mean by that is I'd said, geez, I can't believe Jody didn't move the favorite, the heavy favorite in Capistrano's race. It ended up leaving Wiggle Delight first over, which she hates. But Mario was in a tough spot. He got the right position behind the favorite. You'd think Jody would move. He didn't. So we were first over. I ended up at a great trip with Capistrano. But earlier on, I didn't move Need Your Opinion. Now, I made it clear at the time Doug McNair was parked. He was trying to flush me out. Bob McClure didn't look like he wanted to move. I had to wait, and finally, when I made my decision to stay in, Dougie came. He's on the outside of me, and out comes Bob. Now they're getting into the last turn. That wasn't an option for me, and I didn't want to be first over with that filly. She runs in a bit in the turns, and first over against Paul McDonnell's horse. Now, Paul McDonnell's horse was long odds, but he already blazed a half in 55-1. I didn't want to be first over into a 53 mile if that's what he was able to go. You know, you don't often see Paul McDonnell drive in an aggressive manner. So I was in a bad spot. I didn't know I was a favorite going to the gate. I thought I was 7-2, somewhere around there. I think Jody's a favorite. Bob's bet down. They're both in front of me. Neither of them are moving. So I'm going to go and do all the heavy lifting, and they're going to sneak out like they always do. And then what? I'm going to have a tired filly going under the wire, beat by two horses that are fresh. This is what's going through my mind as we're racing. So I'm thinking to myself, no, I'll wait. Jody will get out. Bob will get out. I'll get out. And instead, we ended up having to weave through. Dougie was second, I believe, and I was just beat a nose for third, finished fourth. She raced good, closing on the end of it, kind of what I wanted to see going into the semifinals next week. And, there were some complaints. People want to know why we weren't first over. Because I'm not moving her first over. I didn't want to come first over with Need Your Opinion, coming off a break, going in. I believe she's one of the best fillies in the division. And I don't want to empty her out, bottom her out, and toy with her confidence right before the semifinals. I just don't want to do it. So there's lots of times I drive bad. I was clear. I thought that I drove, obviously, perfect example. Stonebridge Simba, the way it turned out yesterday, I don't believe I drove him good. I think I drove him bad. And it ended up costing our clients at least second. I'd say we weren't going to win, and we might not have been second, but we could have been a better third. And the way I thought the race would go, it didn't go. I ended up putting him on the front, and all the favorites in behind me, except for the horse that won the Pennsylvania final, ended up beating me. I finished third. Now, with Need Your Opinion, I have no regrets. If I'd have run that race over 100 times, I probably wouldn't have come first over 5 of them. And I stand by what I said. My job is to protect the interest of the horse and the interest of our clients, the bettors. I thought I had a better chance staying in than I did coming first over with Need Your Opinion. And for the people that disagree, that's fine. You can say I drove the horse bad, but you're not going to have to worry about it next week. Jody Jameson's going to drive her. And the reason Jody Jameson is going to drive her is because James can't commit. He said he had to drive Blake's horses. Blake has 2 going into the semifinals, and if he can't commit to Need Your Opinion, then we need somebody that will. Jody said he would. Kevin said Jody'd be a great fit. Jody said he wanted to drive the horse. He asked me for the drive on the horse. I said to Kevin, what about Jody? He said, that's who I was going to ask you for. So that's who's driving her. Jody Jameson's going to drive her next Friday. And I think she's one of the best fillies in the division going into the eliminations next Friday night. Olympic Hopeful's done for the year. A horrible race last night. Looked like she tied up or something. It's just been a really poor year for Olympic Hopeful. And I can tell you that Angie Coleman is optimistic about her 2020 campaign. She bought a quarter of this filly off of clients that wanted to move shares, and Angie bought them all. So that's good. For those of you out there, if you think Angie was just collecting a bill to collect a bill, she is now a 25% owner, I believe, or more in Olympic Hopeful. I'm sure she was a little disappointed last night, but at the end of the day, it was a poor 2019, and yet there's a big, good-looking filly Angie believes she's going to be a good 3-year-old, and she put her money where her mouth was. She ponied up 25% ownership, for 25% ownership of Olympic Hopeful. Overdue Mission is going to race in the final. It looks like Susie K may make it into the final. So we're looking at maybe Overdue Mission, Ailson, and Susie K. The problem I have is I can't be there. I'm going to be in Lexington on Sunday looking at babies. The good news is all 3 of those fillies have been pretty standard all year, pretty tough all year. The only break I think Susie K was on me when I let the hobbles out at Scioto. She made a little error in the middle of the straightaway, and on Jason at a fair track. Overdue Mission's been pretty good all year. Somebody had said they were a little unhappy I drove her hard in Delaware. Well, I drove her hard in Delaware because I'm going to be completely honest. Unless Dan Creighton's filly makes a mistake, you are not beating her. It's going to be very tough to beat Dream Change in the final. She's pretty much a gold filly racing against grassroots horses. And what is this boy going to do? What is this thing? Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. Ollie's playing a little, looks like a little batting game. It's pretty cool. So Overdue Mission, I drove her hard because we were racing for half of what we're going to race for next week. And I have no qualms about leaving out of the 7-hole in Delaware. I thought she could trot in 58. I put a race together for her where she trotted in 58. She was going to the winner's circle. She didn't, and she couldn't. And that Dream Change, I believe, went at 57 not too long before that, or 58. At the end of the day, I think Overdue Mission is a contender. I think that Susie K can pick up some money. And Ailson, I think, is probably second best in that grouping if she comes back good, which I suspect she will. We saw her put in a couple of these bad races in Scioto until we got her the proper shoeing for her. Now she is going to a new track, a 5/8 mile track. Jason tells me the footing's a little firmer there, so I think Ailson will probably race well in Dayton, but it looks like we'll have 3 fillies and 3 fillies only. Maybe sometimes things happen. If things really go our way, he might make it into the final, which I'd be really interested about, because the only time he's ever raced in a 5/8, he was a winner. So Dayton next Sunday, I told Jason just to list the best drivers available on the horses. Brett Miller has already said he's going to drive Dan Creighton's horse. Chris Beaver's going to have Aaron Merriman. So we're looking at probably Chris Page, Ronnie Wren, and Tyler Smith, hopefully, for our horses in the filly division. Path of Totality, I'm driving, get up tomorrow at 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to drive back to the Meadows. I'm going to race Path of Totality at 8 to 5 morning line tomorrow. I'd love to see her win, finish off her year with a victory. Just a beautiful filly. Can't wait to see what she's going to do in 2020. Really Blue Chip, another filly. Although she finished 8th in the division final, she was the 8th top money earner available to race in the final in New York. I thought she had a decent year. She made $35,000, I think 36, something like that. And she's going into 2020 with a big frame to put some muscle and meat on. So I want to see her come back fat after her turnout this fall, and that will be one demand I have, is that she gets fed more than the other horses, gets lots of field time, and I need her to come back a bigger filly. I'll check in with the turnout farm after a month of her being turned out, and if she hasn't put excessive amount of weight on, I may even ship her to Kentucky with the same demand I gave to the other one. So the demand to the turnout farm for Really Blue Chip especially will be simple. I want to see her put lots of weight on. Need 1 month to put lots on. If she puts none on, she'll be going somewhere else. Rooney Blue Chip, he's probably going to come back in the next month. I guess Rooney will start him back up, see how he's coming. There's no real need to give him 3 months off. I mean, the horse, he's a nice looking colt, but there was nothing wrong with him when we turned him out. He was just growthy. So I think bringing him back in, let's say to be safe, first part of November, I think Rooney will come back to us. Rose Run Versatile, she's probably going to come back first part of November also. Sebastian Yu, first part of November also. Maybe even the end of October. Those horses were turned out almost a month ago, I believe. Sometimes things happen. He's going to be turned out. Want lots of time out for this guy. I really want to see what he can do at 3. He's got all the tools, just a big colt. You know, the way he raced on the front at Delaware was impressive. Sure, it wasn't fast, and he gave up the lead. He too had flip-flops on, which really struggled. He really struggled with them, but at the same time, really showed a lot of gumption to him. You know, cleared to the front, controlled the front, fought a little bit, but I think ultimately he was slipping up front with those flip-flops on, but did his work well, and that's what I want to see from from sometimes things happen. Spend that money, she's going to get lots and lots of time also before she comes back in. Spirit a deal, this filly's likely heading to Florida for the winter. And the only reason being, she doesn't get around a half real big. She's a big filly. Training her back on a half-mile track may actually be detrimental. And when I look at her, and when I look at her, and I look at horse like Arctic Force, they may actually benefit. Knockdown, drag out. These are horses that may benefit from a bigger track, a softer track in Florida. Oliver, stop. I'm almost done, buddy. Sunshine and Shade made an unfortunate rare break last night. I said to one of our clients, I don't remember the last time I've ever seen Sunshine and Shade make a break, training or racing, or qualifying, or schooling, ever. So goofed off a little bit, made a little break, first time under the lights at night, a little sharp, feeling a little ornery, and he made a little bit of a break. He'll qualify on Tuesday and be back on track. Susie K, again, I think she might make the finals next week in Dayton. We'll see how that works out. Trafalgar's back training now, looking really, really good. Harry's excited about her. She sound exactly what we wanted to see. So Trafalgar, pointing her towards those Harvest series is in October, the end of October, I believe. Watch Av is Indigo Tuesday. James, I told him to put his money where his mouth was. Do you want to tell me how good he is? Show me, because he certainly didn't show me in Kawartha. James kept saying, no, I'm telling you, this is a nice colt, this is a nice colt. Okay, show me he's a nice colt, because they're going to go in 54 on Tuesday. I want to see what kind of a mile Watch Av goes. I'm not looking for him to win. I don't even care if he gets a check, but I do want to see a mathematically good mile and him finishing strong on the end of it. So we'll all be watching Watch Av on Tuesday. Wiggle Delight, put in a tough spot. Again, it wasn't Mario's fault. He hit her in a perfect spot following the favorite. She ended up first over, finished fourth. She'll make the semifinals. Don't kid yourself. This is one of our best fillies. She's no slouch, and she won't be beat up on by anybody in this division. Will Power Fashion's going to get his 2 months off. He's got another 5 weeks probably off, and then we'll bring him back in. And Zeb Sunshine was castrated. He hasn't gone out yet because we just wanted for that incision to heal. He'll be going out next week. He'll get 2 full months off. That's all of them. That's all the 2-year-olds. I'll be back in a minute. We get all the stables, and one in particular that has 30 horses in it right now. Mine. See you in a minute.